daughter's smile disappear broke my heart, and what happened next shocked everyone. Watch my full story and comment your thoughts. I can't stand in front of camera. I requested you, please listen my story in voice and show your support in comment section.
The birthday party was already in full swing when we arrived at the Riverside Country Club. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings, and waiters in black ties circulated with champagne for the adults. My daughter Emma, 7 years old with her hair in careful braids, wore a floral dress we'd found at a thrift store the week before. She'd fallen in love with it immediately, spinning in the dressing room mirror with pure joy. The fabric was good quality, barely worn, and it fit her perfectly. He felt like a princess. I told her she looked beautiful and I meant it. My father stood near the entrance, greeting guests with his usual commanding presence. At 62 he still carried himself like he owned every room he entered. He ran a manufacturing company, Westbrook Manufacturing, and always made sure everyone knew it. The party was for my niece Sophia, who was turning 8, and Dad had rented out an entire event space at the country club. Ice sculptures shaped like swans dominated the corners. A string quartet played classical music. The dessert table looked like it cost more than most people's monthly rent, featuring a 4-tier custom cake with edible gold leaf. "Well, well," Dad said loudly as we walked in. His voice carried across the room. "Look who came in Goodwill clothes." Emma's hand tightened in mine. Her smile faltered. My mother appeared beside him, perfectly dressed as always. "Oh, sweetie," she said to Emma, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "Didn't your mother tell you this was a nice party?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. My brother Mark joined in, nudging his wife Jennifer. Guess not everyone got the dress code memo. He was wearing a suit that probably cost $3,000. My sister Jessica emerged from the crowd, her 5-year-old daughter dressed in what I recognized as a designer outfit from the children's boutique downtown. "Oh, Emma," Jessica said with fake sympathy. "Did you have a garage sale at your house? Is that where you found that?" More laughter. Even some of Dad's business associates were chuckling, clearly enjoying the family dynamics on display. Emma's grip on my hand tightened until her small fingers hurt mine. I opened my mouth to respond, but my husband James touched my elbow gently. He was looking at Emma, whose eyes had started to water. Then he smiled, that calm smile I'd learned to recognize over 8 years of marriage. "It's a beautiful dress, sweetheart," James said to Emma. "You look perfect." Dad snorted. "James, come on. You can afford better than thrift store clothes for your kid. What do I pay you for?" That was the thing. Dad thought he paid James. James worked as the chief financial officer at Dad's company, had for 6 years now. Dad loved reminding everyone that he'd given James a chance, despite him not having an Ivy League degree. Dad himself had gone to Princeton, something he mentioned at least once during every family gathering. He'd built Westbrook Manufacturing from the ground up 40 years ago, or so the family story went. It was his identity, his pride, his proof that he was better than everyone else. "You pay me exactly what the position is worth," James said pleasantly. "Shall we get Emma some cake?" We moved into the party. Emma stayed close to my side, quieter than usual. The other children ran around in their designer outfits. My sister-in-law Jennifer made a point of complimenting Sophia's custom-made dress, then looked meaningfully at Emma. "Some people just have different priorities," Jennifer said to the other mothers. Though I couldn't imagine not dressing my child properly for family events. I felt my jaw clench. James squeezed my hand. The gift opening came next. Sophia sat in a throne-like chair decorated with white roses while adults handed her elaborately wrapped presents. Designer toys from American Girl. The latest iPad. A complete art studio setup that must have cost over $1,000. Gift cards to expensive stores, each worth hundreds. When Emma shyly offered her gift, a craft kit we'd carefully chosen from a local art store, which Emma had personally picked out because Sophia had mentioned liking art, Dad actually laughed out loud. "How thoughtful," he said in a tone that meant the opposite. His business partner Richard stood next to him, smirking. "Sophia, make sure to send a thank you note. Though maybe just a text would be fine for this one. Save the nice stationery for the real gifts." More laughter. My face burned. Emma pressed against my leg, trying to make herself smaller. I saw her bottom lip trembling. "You know what your problem is?" Dad directed this at me, warming to his subject now. Everyone was watching. You never learned the value of success. Look at your brother. Look at Jennifer. They understand what it means to maintain standards. Mark nodded seriously. It's about teaching children what matters. Exactly, Dad continued. And frankly, I'm embarrassed. This is a family event. We have business associates here. What does it say that my own granddaughter shows up looking like she shops at a homeless shelter? The room went quiet. Emma was crying now, silent tears running down her cheeks. I crouched to comfort her, fury building in my chest. James pulled out his phone, still wearing that calm smile. That's interesting, he said conversationally. Speaking of family and business, I wanted to share something with everyone. He tapped his phone a few times. Around the room, phones started buzzing. The family group chat. Everyone looked down at their screens. What is this? Dad asked, frowning at his phone. That, James said, is the corporate filing from 2019. When your company almost went bankrupt. Remember that? Dad's face darkened. That's private business information. It's public record, actually. Available to any shareholder. James's voice remained pleasant, almost conversational. And as you can see there, when you were 3 months from losing everything, you had to accept an investment offer. 73% controlling interest in exchange for the capital to stay afloat. The agreement was signed on March 15, 2019, at 3:47 p.m., in the offices of Cohen & Associates downtown. You were desperate enough that you signed without even reading the full disclosure documents. My mother's eyes widened. What are you talking about? James tapped his phone again. More buzzing. That's the shareholder registry, current as of this morning. See that investment firm? Blackstone Holdings LLC. I know what my own company's ownership looks like, Dad snapped. Some investment group owns the majority. So what? I still run everything. You do run the day-to-day operations, James agreed. That was part of the arrangement. You get to stay on as president and make operational decisions. But all major financial decisions, all strategic direction, all executive compensation, that requires approval from the controlling shareholder. Mark was scrolling through his phone now, his expression confused. This says the investment firm is owned by a trust. The Westbrook Family Trust, James confirmed. Established in 2018. Want to see the trust documents? He didn't wait for an answer. More files appeared in the group chat. My sister-in-law gasped. This says, the primary beneficiary is my wife, James finished. Emma's mother. The woman you've been mocking for the past hour. The room was completely silent. Emma had stopped crying and was looking up at her father with wide eyes. Dad's face went from red to pale. That's not possible. I negotiated with some lawyers. They never said. They weren't required to disclose the beneficial owner, James said. Only the purchasing entity. My wife preferred to keep it quiet. She thought it would be better for family dynamics if you didn't know she'd saved your company. Saved. Dad's voice cracked. James pulled up another document. Your debt at the time was $8.2 million. Vendors were threatening to sue. Payroll was about to bounce. The trust paid off all your debts, invested another $3 million in modernizing your equipment, and restructured your supplier contracts. Your company is now valued at around $40 million. $40 million, my mother whispered. Of which my wife owns 73%, James said. That's roughly $29 million, give or take. Jennifer's hand went to her mouth. Mark just stared. I don't believe this, Dad said, but his voice had no strength. You're making this up. James's phone rang. He answered it on speaker. Hello. Mr. Thompson, this is David Martinez from Cohen & Associates, the lawyer said, his voice crisp and professional. You asked me to call at 3:30 regarding the Westbrook matter. I have the board resolution you requested. Thank you, David. I'm here with the family now. Can you confirm the ownership structure of Westbrook Manufacturing? Of course. According to our records and the corporate filings, Blackstone Holdings LLC owns 73% of all outstanding shares. Blackstone is wholly owned by the Westbrook Family Trust, established in Delaware for tax purposes. The primary beneficiary and trustee is Mrs. Sarah Thompson. Her husband, James Thompson, serves as the trust's financial manager and holds power of attorney for all business decisions until the secondary beneficiary reaches age 25. Dad sat down heavily in one of the party chairs. He looked like he might be sick. His face had gone gray. And can you confirm, James continued, what authority the minority shareholder has regarding major business decisions? The minority shareholder, currently Mr. Robert Westbrook, has no authority over strategic decisions, executive compensation, or financial restructuring without written approval from the majority shareholder. As outlined in the 2019 investment agreement, Mr. Westbrook serves at the pleasure of the trust and can be removed from his position by majority vote. Thank you, David. That's all I needed. James ended the call. The silence in the room was deafening. You've been working for your own daughter this whole time, my mother said to Dad, her voice faint. Not exactly, James corrected. He's been working for his granddaughter, actually. The trust is structured to transfer fully to Emma on her 25th birthday. Until then, my wife manages it on her behalf. Emma looked up at me. I own Grandpa's company? You will, I told her softly. When you're older. Dad's hands were shaking. Why didn't you tell me? For the first time I spoke directly to him. Because you never asked. You assumed I was struggling. Assumed I was failing. You never once asked about my life, my investments, or where the money came from when I bought my house. You were too busy judging. The house, Mark said slowly. You paid cash for that house. I did. Jennifer's expression shifted from smug to calculating. So when you said you couldn't invest in Mark's startup. I said I chose not to invest, I corrected. Because his business plan was terrible and I don't throw money away on family vanity projects. Mark flushed red. Dad was still staring at his phone. I could have lost everything. If you'd wanted to, you could have. Could have destroyed you financially? James finished. Yes. At any point in the last 6 years we could have called the loans, restructured the board, or sold the company out from under you. We didn't. Because despite everything we thought family mattered. Thought? My mother caught the past tense. I looked at Emma, still in her beautiful thrift store dress, her face blotchy from crying. My daughter wore this dress because she loved it. Because she felt pretty in it. Because we're teaching her that value isn't measured by price tags. And you humiliated her in front of everyone. Sweetheart, Dad started, but I held up my hand. James has been documenting everything, I said. Every dismissive comment. Every joke at my expense. Every time you've undermined me in front of my daughter. We were willing to let it go. We didn't need you to know the truth. But you crossed a line today. James pulled up another document. This is a board resolution, drafted this morning. It removes Robert Westbrook as president of Westbrook Manufacturing, effective immediately. It requires only the majority shareholder's signature. You can't, Dad whispered. We can, I said. But we won't. Not yet. Consider this a warning. I picked up Emma even though she was getting too big for it. We're leaving now. Emma, say goodbye to your cousin. Bye, Sophia, Emma said quietly. I hope you liked your presents. We walked toward the exit. The crowd parted in silence. Wait, Dad called out. We stopped. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I turned back. He looked older suddenly, smaller. You're sorry you humiliated your granddaughter? Or you're sorry you found out I have power over you? He opened his mouth. Closed it. No answer came. That's what I thought, I said. In the car, Emma was quiet for a long time. Finally she said, Daddy, do I really own Grandpa's company? You will, James said. When you're grown up. Will I have to be mean like Grandpa? No, baby, I told her. You can be successful and kind. You can be powerful and gentle. You can wear whatever makes you happy and still be worth more than everyone in that room combined. He thought about this. Can we go get ice cream? James laughed. Absolutely. As we drove away, my phone buzzed continuously. Messages from family members. Apologies. Explanations. Excuses. I turned it off. Emma fell asleep in her thrift store dress, ice cream on her chin, completely unaware that she was a millionaire. That was exactly how I wanted it. She'd learn about money and power and responsibility when she was ready. For now she just needed to know she was loved, and that her dress was perfect. My phone buzzed one last time before I silenced it. A message from Dad. Please. We need to talk. I deleted it. He could wait. For the first time in my life he could wait on me. Outside the car window the city lights blurred past. Emma snored softly. James reached over and squeezed my hand. You did good, he said quietly. I squeezed back. We did good. And we had. Not just today but 6 years ago, when we'd quietly saved a failing company. When we'd let Dad keep his dignity and his title. When we'd built something valuable while he dismissed us. The difference was now he knew. Now they all knew. And that changed everything.
This is my whole story. If my story touched your heart, then please like and subscribe my channel for more wake-up stories.